Welcome back to the Synergistic CX Podcast. This is part 3 of our 3-part episode where we're focusing on the gas station industry. In the previous 2 parts of this episode, we explored the key elements shaping customer experience in this industry and also analyzed the customer journey map. Now, in our final segment, we'll broaden the conversation with Oleksiy Tsysar, founder and CEO of 4Service Group, as he shares his expert insights on the evolving landscape of customer experience. Christiani, my colleague here at the CX channel, will lead our interview. Chris, all yours.
Thank you, Eric. Welcome again, Oleksiy. It's a pleasure to have you today with us. Let me start with this interview with your profile. We know each other for a long time from conference, from business. I know you have a degree in marketing and economics and is passionate about motorcycles, just like me. You're also passionate with yachts, not like me yet. But what more can you tell us about you, professionally, personally?
Well, thank you for inviting me again to this podcast. It's really difficult to talk about me. I'd like to talk about things that would be useful to hear, but just short. Yeah, I started this business 25 years ago in Kiev. At first, I wanted to do a full house market research company because I have worked in a market research company. I just got mad with this. It was so interesting. Yeah, absolutely not boring. Having just graduated from the marketing university, from the marketing faculty. So I started by that, and turned out that the market has been already very competitive, so I focused on customer experience and mystery shopping studies back then. And the company expanded to the neighboring countries. And then about 15 years ago, we started diversifying very much the portfolio so that now we do lots of market research of all types, like product testing, advertising, and price monitoring. So mystery shopping is just a small part at the moment, but still, that's legacy methodology. I believe we know everything about it, having been doing it in the very difficult, operationally challenging region of the world in the Eastern Europe and Asia. Have seen all sorts of fraud, and that's how I spent this part of my life, building this company. Thanks to people present here like Emil, I have managed to grow it quite a lot over those years. 4 years ago, we had to close half of our business in Russia since the war started. But luckily, we had quite a good business in Europe, and it's growing well now, in Central Asia, in Caucasus. So that now we have about 6 offices, not about exactly 6 offices. Yeah, we closed the one in Moscow and in Belarus. But we have in Kazakhstan and Armenia, Azerbaijan, Georgia, Romania, and in Austria, as well as in Ukraine, of course. Yeah. And we are considering opening a new one in Uzbekistan soon, which is a new emerging star of the Central Asia region, but not many companies.
So I imagine your team speaks many languages.
Yeah, quite many languages, yeah. So we speak English, Ukrainian, Russian on a daily basis. That's the languages I use all the time. Yes, a little German sometimes as well. Yeah,
So
as you mentioned, the hobbies, yes, motorcycles are a real passion. I do motorcycle every day. Actually, go to office and home on the motorcycle. The big motorcycle is not very comfortable in Vienna because it's street lights, but that's the most efficient and fastest way. So 10 minutes, and I get to my family. Otherwise, I would rather use a bicycle, but it's not that fast. And when I have time, I do long distance trips to Italy, to Switzerland. So that's what I have a dream of, going around America, both South and North America one day, and maybe other continents. But it's just somewhat distant now. Yeah.
Yeah. But as you are explaining before, 4Service is, very impressive numbers. You're talking before with over 1,000 projects already delivered across various business, in 25 countries that you cover in terms of field work. But I'm always curious to know, how did you first found out about mystery shopping? Because 25 years ago, it was not a very known concept in Europe. How did we start the first concept, the first impression with mystery shopping?
Yeah. First of all, we at the moment we do not do 25 countries. We do all the countries where there is business. I mean, mostly through our own network of field force, but sometimes we rely on partners, of course. Yeah. So global projects are the one share of projects that are growing rapidly now with us. And your question is very interesting. How did I come to mystery shopping? It was by chance, because in the company where I worked first as an employee many years ago, 30 years ago, I was a student. They did everything except mystery shopping. So I thought I know everything, but these two words I didn't know. What was that? And when I learned, I know everything. I don't know what's that. And it turned out to be a non-existent product on the market at the time. So we started it in 2001 in Ukraine. It was not, I mean, we went to Russia and they still didn't have it in a couple of years. They still didn't have, so we were the first and the biggest agency there. But then we've seen that our clients need more. So they need more support. They need advice. They need other types of research. And so that's how we changed. Our change was client-driven, I would say. So eventually I came back to the market research I always wanted to do. And now we have the full house type of agency. We have all sorts of analysts and qualitative research people, quantitative. It's very interesting to have this sort of folks at your company because they are different. They are scientific minded and very honest. They will not tell clients what is not true. So they are very principled. The scientific spirit. Yeah.
Okay.
You see, I tend to answer a short question in a very long story. You need to stop me, I told you.
Oh, it's interesting. It's fascinating, actually. So moving to our main topic today, which is customer experience. When you talk about customer experience, what does customer experience means to you?
Well, it has many sides or facets to it. But first of all, I think that customer experience is a long-term profitability driver for a company. That's what matters. That's why we are in this business, because this concept is crucial for a company success, for a client company success for us. Of course, we can take many perspectives and say that customer experience is is an aspect of human existence. That's how people, when in the customer role, they experience the world through the customer's eyes. So they something gets delivered to them and they go through it. They perceive, this also, let's say, a strategic discipline at the company, discipline. So this is something that companies need to manage, to make a discipline, to make a focus. And the third important perspective of customer experience is the delivery itself, the operational process, of course. So that's how it's been provided by a company and all the processes that stand behind it, that work behind this experience. So you can shape customer experience. We have, luckily, the power to create customer experience. Not exactly, but mostly to manage the resulting construct that people will have in their minds after experiencing the product or service. So that's a manageable problem. But again, customer experience is about being successful in business. And the most successful companies today are those who are very mature on the customer experience, let's say, scale, who know what they are doing and provide the best experience to their customers. There have been many studies that show that those companies who put CX at the center of their strategy, they have better financial results.
Absolutely. It's no longer a department, it's a discipline, it's a leadership discipline. So here in the podcast and in our studies everywhere, many times we talk about the gaps, what needs to be improved. But then our audience, our community, they always ask the opposite. I mean, what excellence looks like. So I would like to know, in your opinion, what does customer experience excellence means to you?
So that's a good question. Customer experience can be describe with one word. It's consistency. It's the consistency. The excellence in customer experience is the excellence in operational delivery. This is what matters. And this is where the companies should start. Companies are often misled, first by this quite a seducing concept of the moments of truth that should be managed, the wow moments, but this comes after. So companies should absolutely focus on the consistency of delivery, to meeting the promises they have made to the client, and that takes something else. That takes the strategy, the vision, putting the customer experience in the center of their vision and of their strategy, the leadership support, the processes and alignment. So it's quite a piece of work, but excellence is worth it, I believe. Is worth it in both the human terms and the business terms. So it pays off, and it has a mission of making human existence better.
And looking at the opposite, why do you think so many customer experience projects fail?
Yeah, there are, I would say, typically 3 reasons, and I have seen them many, many times. The most common reason, especially as it was in the past, less now, but in the less mature markets, was that the customer experience initiatives, they absolutely lack leadership support. I'm telling this and just see those faces. Just people really believe something else drives their success. Maybe a good position on the market and or their own manufacturing facilities, whatever. But without their real belief of the leadership, their company will. I mean, this belief will be translated down to the front line level, or the lack of it as well. So that's where they fail, because they say one thing. Maybe, yes, I remember a large company that was actually seduced by a large number of articles we have published, and that the other guys were using our services. So they say this is the thing to do today, but actually they never believed in the importance of customer experience, and they didn't really modify, didn't really adapt, align their processes.
So, Oleksiy, you share with me a fascinating story that highlights one frequent mistake that many leaders make in customer experience program. Would you like to share that with our audience?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I can share a story of failure, for example, or I can share a story of success. We have both. We have seen many of the both type. So one very early story, maybe like 20 years ago, I remember one huge supermarket chain coming to us and saying they want to start a measurement program for their customer experience that involves voice of the customer and mystery shopping on a regular basis. We also did some focus groups for them. So we talked to the real customers, to different personas, different types, and we extracted from those studies what customers expected at the time in that country, at that historical period, let's say. And it just went smoothly for a year or two, and we didn't quite had the chance to participate in the inner workings of the company. So we just were once invited to some corporate gathering where we could present the initial results, why it was new, fresh, and something interesting to talk about. And it was like, people seem to find it all amusing. Yeah, our measurements that are being done with the management, with the owners there as well. Yeah, but then something strange happened, and like in 18 months, they summoned us and say, "Hey, we are doing what you told us to do. We are measuring everything, but the cashiers do not smile and do not greet. So your program isn't working," they said. So I didn't have the time to open my mouth and say it was just so imposing. Leadership group made us put the blame on us for. So it was quite an obvious case of not acting on the results, so not building the system itself. But we also took a lesson, so we should give clients more and for free, just the basic recommendation what you should do with it. And even if they do not buy any consulting support from us, we just give them as a present package of basic recommendation that you should implement. Yeah, I cannot say that this keeps happening anymore. Companies have, as the competition grows, businesses become smarter. Those that have survived, that business survived quite good, but they changed the management very many times after that. And that's just a historical anecdote, I would say. You cannot, as you have said it, you cannot, how did you say, improve the pig's weight by measuring it every day or something like this?
Yeah, yesterday we were talking that if you can weight the pig every day and it will not make it fatter.
That won't make it fatter. Exactly, yeah. So this is why actually strategically we are now investing into the advisory part of our business, because we are just hurt to see clients not being able to implement. And that implementation often starts with the integration. So we're always trying to lead our clients to make them think about integrating all the data they have, the external data that we provide and the internal CX data that they have always had, but it may be siloed in different departments and not connected. The dashboard is the magic word, but it's not the dashboard itself. It is the system is the magic word, should be. And then there comes the basic consulting and advisory support. And you would be surprised how huge, successful European-wide companies with thousands of locations, they have sometimes no idea about not just how to manage customer experience, but what they want at all. And if they ever want it, they just think this is a nice thing to do, just because this chain is doing this and we are in competition with them, so we need to do it. And that's where it stops. And we still sometimes get the blame. But all right, that depends everything on the maturity level. And I would say that in the coming years, the maturity level, at least in Europe, of company 6 maturity level will grow due to the healthy competition. Those who disregard this important driver of business success will just not be able to survive in the competition.
Yeah, absolutely, because just measuring the customer experience is not enough. Companies need to address what needs to be done and develop action plans and follow up. And actually, you have a very interesting case study. On this month magazine, we publish this case study from Service Group. It addresses loyalty, how to identify the drivers to customer preference, and our audience can read the details results on the magazine. But I want to ask you a few questions about it. First, you address one of the major challenges for researchers, which is why customers cannot fully explain their behavior. Can you share your views about that with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So that comes from our recent project where we have decided to construct something new to create. We did a customer experience modeling study. We created the CX model for this exactly fuel retail market in Ukraine. And why did we do that? Why would anyone do that? So today in the customer experience, both practice and the business science, exists a limited number of such studies that have tried to find hidden structure and hidden drivers of customer experience and of customer behavior. And we did that. And the value of that study is precisely in what you're asking, in the difference between what customers say that matters to them and what actually influences their behavior, what impacts their decision making. And this is one phenomena which is very interesting, has been always been in the market research practice, that there are reasons why you will not learn directly the truth from the customers, as you would not learn directly the truth from any person, any human. If you ask them the question, you will not always get the truth. Otherwise, I don't know what would be with our world. It's like in that Netflix series, the 3-body problem. alien civilization didn't understand the concept of AI. So it's not, but customers do not, actually, they do not lie intentionally. They just may not know the true answer. And there are several reasons for that. First, humans are not quite rational beings. They are not robots. And their behavior is only in a small share, is in a small part influenced by rational decisions. Although people may think that this decision has been taken rationally, but actually they will think so after it happened, and they will rationalize. So they will ascribe a rational reason to something that has been done subconsciously. So imagine a driver driving past a gas station and just not willing to make the turn and visit it, just not willing and not knowing why, just doesn't feel like it, and just goes to the next one. And if you ask the driver, why didn't you do that, he will ask himself or herself and invent a reason, but just don't know. So the first thing, people do not know the reasons, and do not know the answers to questions you ask them. If you ask them nicely, they will make the effort and invent ones. But those reasons they have told you are not the drivers. And if a company invests in those stated drivers, it may lose money. It may not really impact the business results as much as the true drivers that do exist, but are not that visible. The other reasons, like people would sometimes want to give socially desirable answers to look good, to say something. Like in this study we did, we have seen that one of the list of, we made a qualitative prior research to come up with a list of what potentially could influence, and we have seen that social responsibility in Ukraine, where the war is going on, of a company, and not having any Russian connections is a very important driver. That's what people said, because it's a social acceptable answer. But our modeling has shown that this has a very limited influence on the actual decision making.
Okay.
You see, this one example. So people say something that sounds good, but it's not true. And then simply people forget. When a decision happens, time goes, and they struggle to remember. This is This is something that has been known for years. There are many studies on this also, sociological research as well. But luckily, there are ways around it. How we can really establish, how can we find out what drives customer behavior? So what people say is important, but it's sometimes not enough, especially with big investments. So when we find the true drivers of customer loyalty, they are really worth the effort and to find them, and they because they drive for investment. So the company would want to invest into something that would make their customers more loyal and make them spend more than something nice that customers say, but it's not the truth.
Yeah, the last point you made, by my experience, is one of the strongest ones, because clients many times want to ask about the experience from the last month or even sometimes from the last year. And it's impossible for a customer to remember exactly something that happened so far ago.
That's why, sorry.
Please, go ahead.
That's the defined distinction between the transactional measurement and relationship-based measurement. And I believe both are mandatory, because transactional, which happened immediately after something has been bought or received, the transaction happened, the customer still remember. But I believe the relationship should be measured, because it's the measure of love. Do the clients care about you, regardless of any transaction that happened? This is the attitude, the connection to the company. So they may not remember anything, but they have this feeling towards you. They may not know why.
But we are speaking before, when we're preparing, that there are ways that this can be measured. So I was wondering if you can share from the researcher's perspective, how do you address that challenging?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, this has been in the practice for many years, but somehow hasn't been quite often employed in the customer experience domain. although the science knows this methodology. So this is a statistical modeling that helps us uncover which attributes of experience, they go hand in hand, they correlate the resulting loyalty measures. Sometimes, in the best case, we measure the actual behavior, but at least we can measure the stated behavior, the intention to visit this station and not that one, to recommend to friends, which is advocacy measure. And that's called regression modeling. And we did exactly that. We did build the model, and we found out through the sample of above 1,000 respondents in the Ukrainian fuel retail, what actually drives customer loyalty, as opposed to what people say drives their loyalty. And we have come to some quite surprising conclusions I can share here verbally, but they will be in the article. So we have actually arrived at two big groups of components, so two big clusters of what matters to customer in the experience. One is emotional experience, and that is functional experience. And emotional being what people perceive, whether people perceive company as reliable, the trust, the atmosphere at the station, the environment, the ambience, and the personalized care, the experience. And then in those attributes, there are detailed items, questions, yeah. And the functional consists of the minimal effort. This sometimes measured by the customer effort score, effectiveness, quality, information, communication. So those hard attributes, functional attributes. And we've been surprised to find out that the emotional group accounts for almost 68% of the impact of the variability. So this is importance is like 2/3. Emotions are more important, 2/3 of the loyalty equation, which we didn't expect this to be the case. So the functional is 32%. And that means that that gives quite a clear instruction to at least in this country, and at least in this sector, in the fuel retail, where to invest money and effort, what to improve. Because the companies may, make wrong decisions where to focus. Yeah. And those measures, I can give you a couple of examples. For example, consistent fuel quality is extremely important, making up almost 8% of the variability. So we have seen that staff assistance and personal care is also very important, hugely important. Or consistency in performance across regions as drivers drive between regions. But more detail you will find out in the next magazine issue, how this works. The key thing about this model is that, as I said, there are so few such studies, and we haven't found any that has been done for the fuel retail market, for the gas retail. There are just no. We have done an extensive search, and then we did what is called meta-analysis. We have found 55 existing customer experience models in the academic press, where they have the description of the method, and we united them all and formed a hypothesis. And then we went out to the field to see if actually this reality holds after we check it with the numbers, because this is an objective reality in a subjective mind. It's something that exists independent of anything. So this is how customer decision making is structured, and this is not what they tell us. This is how it works. So this is why it's quite an exciting study for us, and we are going to repeat the methodology on other markets, other countries, and other sectors. Nobody has done it on scale so far. You can find many academic studies in the field, not on this market, on other markets. And at least we are here at First Service are very excited about this, because this is something new nobody has done. We are now meeting one company after the other in the gas market and talking about it, how they can use it.
Yeah,
in
and
the
it's exciting. It's great, and it's a very strong and robust model, combining different methodologies, interviewing different stakeholders. Somehow, it reminds me of our synergistic CX methodology, combining subjective metrics and objective metrics as well. And I'm sure that our audience will really enjoy reading all the details in the magazine this month. And to wrap up that part, I will ask you, because I know it's very complex, but at least if you can give us a taste of what it is, the 4CX model that you also present us in this case study.
Well, 4CX model is a framework that describes customer experience and the drivers of behavior that has been constructed, created with the use of a number of advanced statistical methodologies. We actually spent 4 months building it. You cannot build it from scratch online. So it's a lot of procedures like exploratory factor analysis, then confirmatory factor analysis. There are many criteria to, and it's quite a risky. When we started this, I told my analyst team that you're now going on a ship like Columbus to discover America, whether you will drown, because if the model doesn't hold, there is no structure in the data, then it's all in vain,
Mhm.
But they then came back happily to me with the eyes, with the eyes shining, and said that yes, the fact that our hypothesis holds. So look, what we have extracted from the 55 models that exist in the world today. That was this model of 6 dimensions, and those 6 dimensions emerged by themselves. So that is the beauty of it. So they just came up in the data after we did all the exercises, and see, we are there. So they are there. That was really not a guaranteed result. It could be otherwise. Other structures could emerge, or nothing could emerge. So just a mess. Nothing correlates. And we have seen that this model is a reality in the gas stations market. We will see if it holds in other countries, other cultures. I don't know. As you have studied, have shown today that the huge differences between the regions, and as Emil was telling about the different levels of customer feedback responses per clusters of the world, regional clusters, I understand that it's because the culture is different. You see this book behind me, the culture map. This is just about it. So in the Asia Pacific, probably the culture of responding is not as strong as in the States, which doesn't mean that the experience is worse itself at the stations. It may be even better. I don't know, but it's different culture. So to wrap it up, it's all exciting business we are doing here. Yeah, exciting field we are busy with.
Okay, we read everything in this month magazine, and here at the CX channel, we are also very grateful that besides this case study, we will also have a business perspective on this month magazine, which is an interview with one of your clients, UPG. And I would like to ask you if you would like to introduce this client briefly to your audience.
Yeah, UPG is one of the many, about 12 fuel retail chains in Ukraine. They all operate quite just as much as they did before the war. They have even become more important because when there is grid breaks and people have no electricity at home, they go to those stations to charge their devices and get some hot food. So UPG is just one of them, one of the biggest, about 500 locations across Ukraine. It's been a client of ours for many years, like it's been 7 years, 2018. And we did all sorts. I have just been briefed today. We did all sorts of research with them, and brand health studies, and mystery shopping, of course, and focus groups, and many. I forgot which.
It's inspiring case study for us in the business perspective, and I'm sure our audience will really enjoy. It's a very innovative company with great history as well. We are looking forward to have them on this month magazine. So, Oleksiy, it has been a very interesting interview. To close, I would like to ask you, what is one lesson that you have learned as a leader from your 25 years in the business?
Yeah, that's a very easy question because it's always on the top of my mind. So you need to have humility and not put your ego before everybody else. Just, yeah, you may, but unless if you want to make some money and grow your business, you'd better have humility and believe in your people, and then let them earn as well and be successful at what they're doing. So this is what has helped me greatly. Just once realizing that one day that you need to put your ego aside and let other egos shine, other people shine. And that has always worked for me since then. That's my advice to anyone. Don't be like other people who put their egos ahead. I won't be pronouncing names.
Okay. Thank you so much for having the time to spend with us, for sharing your knowledge with our community here at the CX channel, the case study that you're sharing as well, and bringing one of your clients to also share their experience with us. It has been a pleasure to host you here as our expert guest. Thank you again.
Thank you very much. Thanks for inviting me. And thanks for letting me speak about something new that we are developing here. That's why I stumbled a little, because I haven't been used to presenting this model. And I'm happy to have this talk with the people I know for half my life, approximately. I thank them particularly. Okay, thank you then. Have a
Thank you, my pleasure.
great day. Yeah.
Back to you, Eric.
Oleksiy, thank you so very much for being our special guest on this episode. Your insights are invaluable. Before we finish, what is the best way for our listeners to contact you at 4Service Group?
You can visit our website, or you are welcome to visit my LinkedIn page, which reads like my name exactly. And I'm trying to post some educational material for everyone who wants to know more about customer experience, research especially. And thanks everybody for listening to me, to us, to my colleagues and friends here. That's a very exciting business we are in. That's one thing I can tell you.
Absolutely. Well, that wraps up another episode of the Synergistic CX Podcast. Visit our website, www.cx-channel.com, to download our magazine for free, which includes this episode's industry study about the gas station industry. It also includes more content, detailed results, additional commentary, a case study from 4Service Group, and in the business perspective section for this month, you'll find the interview with the company UPG. Be sure to subscribe and also follow us on LinkedIn, YouTube, or the social media of your preference, and stay up to date on our activities. Please give us your questions and also comments about what industry you would like to see us explore next. We love your feedback. Thank you for being a part of our podcast, and we'll catch you next time here on the CX channel, where CX professionals converge.